Thank you, Kim, for pulling up with me today on Becoming Carmen. It has been like truly, Kim, it's been an honor to be in community with you, learning about the leadership school, being able here to get on the ground and talk to parents. But I wanted to pull you up in this space again because we've had not one, but we've had two public forums. We are looking down, I believe, a launch date of 2021 school year. So I just thought it would be ideal with all of these parents and speakers that have come up talking about you. I wanted to pull you back up, reintroduce you again to the world because sometimes people get it twisted and act like they don't know who you are. But like, tell us who you are again, like what you doing and why you here. Let's just start with that.
Okay, well, thanks, Carmen, for having me again. I love talking to you about the work. I appreciate your passion and your just commitment to our young people and to getting folks activated in a way that centers around like what people need, like what real needs are, and how we as community work to fill those needs. So you asked a lot in that intro question. I feel like you said, who am I? What am I doing? Like, what's going on? And so, I mean, Carmen, we're out here just trying to do the work. As someone who has been deeply, deeply cognizant of young people and their voice from a very young age, right? So I think I told you this before, I'm one of 8 siblings. I have like 10 first cousins, and being right smack in the middle and having all of these younger sisters and brothers and young cousins that I got to help care for. I remember, when we were growing up in a way that kids were supposed to be seen and not heard. And I have just always been that person. I want to hear what the little kids have to say. I want to hear the opinions of the 5-year-olds, the 7-year-old, the 8-year-olds, and especially the teenagers, right? Because they have so much to bring in. And so, I mean, I just say that to say that I am just constantly, talking to parents and just talking even to young people about what it would have meant for them and what it will mean for people's children to have a school and a space where they are known, seen, loved. And by known, seen, and loved, I mean that who they are as an individual is valued, and people see the gifts and talents that they bring. And because we love them, we give them space to live out and live into those things. And so, I mean, obviously that's the work. And so the big work is, how are we launching a school in the middle of a pandemic, and in the middle of just like everything else going on in the world? And so, we're not gonna, I've been distracted for the last 2 days, right? And pretending that this election isn't happening, and that, how do we just stay centered and focus on the work that we can do? Because that's my form of self-care, right? Like that's what I have to do to not, I can lay in my bed and cry and be like, woe is the country. And I don't know how we get beyond this divisiveness. And I think the way we do it is to center and focus on our young people, because they have the solutions, right? Like at the end of the day, when we see the constant, whether on either side of the aisle of, folks over the age of 70, still making decisions, still getting elected, still, not that their ideas and thoughts can't be valuable, but we need the perspective of our youth and our young people in this world more than ever before. And so, we have just been trying to continue to leverage the great support of our parents who, really clued into the leadership school early and have been able, right? Like I recognize it's a privilege for some families to be able to, show up at our virtual meetings and be a part of the design team and leverage and go through their neighborhood and connect with other families. And so we're just trying to do more of that. I think the other thing that we're focused on is the actual design of the school, right? And so ensuring that we're still doing the work of, adjusting to responses and the needs and what we're hearing from families and our design team in terms of like how we need to shift or just create different structures. And then I think you mentioned having a second public hearing. I'm really grateful that we had that opportunity to hear from some additional folks. And I think just to try to understand, why people might be opposed to a charter school coming into the community. And I think that it's helped me to just like get some better insight on, how to help people understand the leadership school. And I can't speak for any other school. I can't speak on the public policy and the decision makers who, decided. I can just tell you what we're going to do and how we're going to operate. And when we talk about leading with love and excellence and authenticity and discipline, like what that looks like. And so I feel like I am like living out our core values every year, particularly around the discipline, right? And so we have defined discipline as persisting towards our goals and accomplishing our individual and collective goals, and that in the face of adversity, we persevere, we stay the course, we accomplish the task. And that is really what I'm focused on right now, and trying to do that in ways that I need to build more relationships and stronger relationships. And that is definitely a focus. But also like, parents are calling me and texting me and saying like, what can I do? Like, this school has to come to fruition. Like, it has to exist. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next year with my kindergartner. I don't know what, or like my child needs a different type of setting, right? Like, and I think people are really, hungry for that. And so that's what we're up to. So that's what I'm up to.
I thank you. I think I've been in this work, Kim. Paul is 17 now. I think you grabbed him at like 3rd grade or something like that. So I've been in this work for a while, just advocating, fighting the fight. I think you needed to say all of that in its totality, because I look at this through the lens of a parent. And now you have the privilege that you can now look at this through the lens of a parent, because when you had Paul, you wasn't a mom. Right? You weren't able to put those glasses on that you can now put on and look at it differently. So I'm going to touch something, and I know I'm kind of controversial, but I'm going to touch this. And, I know you're executive director, like you lead and you got to be a leader, but I need to touch this to make sure that I'm hitting this for parents, because that's what I care about. You are a native of Chicago, born and bred, but having options, I'm going to change the word from choice, and I'm going to switch that thing to options, because we, the people in the great United States of America, we have options in everything. Like, we expressly say people need options. That's what we do in America. But for some reason in education, we don't believe that same rule apply unless you're rich and you can afford private or independent or some type of paid school. That's the only option. And my skin is black and yours is too. Most of our people can't afford that. So here's my thing. I know you, like you're from the trenches of Chicago, but you're here now in the great old show me state where you got to pull up. This is the gateway. So no shade. Folks say they don't know you. They don't know nothing about you. And they want to know why you trying to pull up in their hood. We have historically the same politicians in office year after year after year on the local level. But they do not want you here. They've made that clear in the public forum. They rallying. All of these things are happening. But parents are saying that no one is listening to them. Like, I don't know if you saw the last live that I did with Miss Randall. I don't know if you saw the one with Miss Cooper. I don't know if you saw the one with Diane Cunningham. Like, people do know you, but why are these people pulling up like you trying to slide in like a snake or something? Make it make sense.
Well, I can't speak to, I believe that everyone cares about our kids and our community. And my definition of community is just broad, and it includes, all of us, right? Like everyone who wants and needs options and opportunities. And that just is something that's just been rooted in me because I had amazing options and opportunities presented to me starting in the 7th grade, because I had an amazing 5th and 6th grade grade teacher who literally changed my life trajectory. Had my first male teacher in 7th grade. He was amazing. He treated us like his children because his son was in fact our same age. And the high school, the magnet high school I went to is the one he graduated from, right? So between Mrs. Robinson and Dr. Hardaway's impact on my life, it was life-changing. And then my high school advisor, my freshman year, you know, after having these really great Black teachers, this was a white man. Mr. Smith, again, changed my trajectory in high school and really saw something in me, made sure that I was able to get into honors classes, even though I hadn't gone to the school for the 7th and 8th grade gifted program, right? Because I didn't know about it, not because I couldn't have got in, but I didn't know that existed in 6th grade, right? So anyway, I say all that to say that for me, I have watched educators just do the work. I have been the recipient of educators just doing the work, just impacting kids and families and communities little by little. And so, you know, I did have a great choice. You know, in undergrad, I started as an engineer major, always knew I wanted to be a teacher because of these great teachers on the path to get an elementary education degree. I ended up taking a class called child development for elementary teachers. And then I thought, no, I need a degree in child development. So I went and found that degree at the university under human development and family studies, did my focus on child and adolescent development. So I get to senior year and I'm like, but I still want to be a teacher. I'm glad I have this understanding of kids and how they develop and all the changes and all the things, but I still want to be a teacher. So I applied to grad school to get a teaching degree and I applied to Teach for America. Teach for America accepted me, placed me in St. Louis. And I'm gonna tell you how crazy this was, Carmen, so you're a woman of faith as well. I literally, God knew that I was gonna do whatever. I said, make it clear to me. I was happy in Champaign, Illinois, in my little college bubble. All my friends were there. I was one of my few friends graduating in 4 years on time. I wanted to stay where I was comfortable. And I literally was supposed to find out if I got into grad school at U of I, and I didn't get a letter. I'm calling the admissions office, and they're like, it was sent in the mail. We can't tell you over the phone. But I had to make a decision to TFA. And I said, okay, God, like, I guess if the deadline comes, I'm gonna accept Teach for America and move to St. Louis. I did that, and the very next day, my beat up letter came in the mail. It had been lost in the mail. And I said, okay, God, you're up to something. I don't really know what, but you're up to something. So I guess I'm going to St. Louis. I've never been there. It's close enough to home. I can visit my family in Chicago, I guess. So in 2003, upon graduation from college, I moved to St. Louis, and this has been my home, right? So you think about growing up in Chicago and coming of age in a place, but like my adult life has always been here in this community. And so I started teaching in St. Louis public schools. I worked there for 3 years. I worked in Normandy. I came to the Normandy School District in 2006, and I worked at the middle school, the 7th and 8th grade center for 2 years. And the thing I will tell you, people might not know me because I have never really been that person that's out here trying to be known. And I don't say that to disparage anybody who understands how to network better than I do or understand how to leverage relationships. It's not that I don't build strong relationships. I just build them in the context of the work that we're doing. So you talk to any educators I've worked with, you talk to my former bosses, you talk to my former parents, you talk to my former students, and you get a very different perspective of Kim Townsend and who she is. And so I say that to say that people might not know me because I, have been doing the work, right? And so I had someone say, oh, Kim Townsend starting a school, where did she come from? And I was at first offended by that comment of where did she come from? And I said, I came from the work. I came from the community. I came from the conversations with parents and students. I came from the frustration. I came from the failing schools. I came from, most recently, I was at a private independent school. I came from, a good running school, a school parents were paying for. Like, I came from the work. And I don't know another way to say that except, I would say it's been at least 10 years since I said to someone, I'm from Chicago, but I live in St. Louis, right? I did say that for the first, 5 years or so that I lived here, but, I married someone who's from this community. I had a child in 2014 and she is from St. Louis County, right? And so my family is rooted and grounded in North St. Louis County. And so for me, this is my community. When I looked at, as you said, I became a parent. And when I looked at what school options were available for my child and other people's children, like we have some of the same issues. And so this fragmentation that we have that's rooted in systemic racism, that's rooted in structural racism, in terms of how school districts and the boundary lines and all these things are set up, those things might exist, right? And so I may not live in this particular neighborhood, but I think it is, for me, it feels very inaccurate to say that I'm not from the community and to say that I'm not rooted and grounded here, because I've taught in St. Louis Public, I've taught in Normandy, I've supported teachers across, when I worked for Teach for America, across all the districts, like in St. Louis Public, in various charter schools, in Hazelwood, in Normandy, in Wellston when it was open, in Riverview Gardens, right? And so for me, then I worked at a charter school and then I worked at a private school. And so for me to say that I don't understand, or no one said that, but to insinuate, right, that I'm an outsider or that I don't get it, I do think that that's not really true. It's
not true. I don't mean to interject and cut you off. It's not true, because you are now from St. Louis. You're rooted here. This is home. So what the insinuation, I think, is felt by all parents that know you, all educators that know you. We felt that same thing. So I wanted to ask that question direct, because I wanted to hear your response, because on the back end, what we also felt was you can't speak in one unified voice for people you have not spoken to, because there are other voices, as you saw with Ms. Randall. Her voice says she's not a supporter of charter schools, but she needs the leadership school, and this is why. So if you're in a unified voice, understand that's not a very accurate statement, because at least one person has a contrary view. So with that being said, and I know I don't have a lot more time with you, I want to try to touch two more things. One of the other things that I heard on the public forum that just sat with me is that they don't want our children to be guinea pigs. I don't either. Like, Paul has been a guinea pig since he's been in education in Missouri, and that's since he was 5. The state of education has been declining since the 60s, and it just appears that all of our children are guinea pigs right now in traditional public schools, in this COVID climate, charter schools as they open up. But how do we provide options with this mantra that they believe that you're creating guinea pigs out of our children? It feels like they're already guinea pigs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there, people choose different terminology to try to express what it is that they're feeling and thinking, and I recognize the expression that people want change, and people want more diverse communities. People want more integrated communities and schools and neighborhoods, and then some folks are not willing. And people use language like, well, I'm not willing to risk my child's happiness or risk my child's opportunities, right? So we think about as folks choose what neighborhoods to live in, what schools to send their children, there's always this idea of is it going to harm me? And I think we have to change that terminology. We have to change our frame of reference. We have to change the way, we're thinking about things. And so for me, what I would say is, education has to be constantly evolving. And so for me, although I've been in the work now, this is year 18 in education. When I started really exploring, launching a different school option and talking to parents a couple years ago, I had 16 years in, and I had been out of school for 9 years, right? And so what I knew was that I'm learning in the work, right? Like you're constantly learning and evolving with your kids and your families and your teachers, but there's new research, there's new ways of thinking. The world is constantly changing. And so even the decision to go back and pursue another degree for me was about my own learning curve, right? And so I don't view children or, launching a new school as a guinea pig. I've taken this responsibility very seriously to both hear from kids, hear from recent high school graduates, hear from parents, do my research, right? Like go learn and study some of the best schools in the country. I am a student at Vanderbilt University, learning from some of the best professors in the country and researchers and scholars. And so I think that we have to recognize that there's such a thing as an improvement cycle, right? And so when we look at anything and we're not getting the outcomes that we want, however we choose to define those outcomes, whether we're talking about kids growing and living thriving lives that they can imagine for themselves, or we're talking about test scores on a test that is faulty, right? Like that has its own issues, but whatever measure you want to look at, we're not getting the outcomes that we want and that our kids need and deserve. So we have to be going through some rapid improvement cycles, right? And so you can refer to that as kids being guinea pigs, but I guarantee you in every school across the country, every good school is constantly assessing what are we doing well and how do we do it better. And so I just think the difference here is we're not already a school, but we're doing our due diligence. We're doing our homework to figure out how do we set up a school that's going to be amazing day one, that's going to really work for kids day one, and how do we build in the culture where we listen to kids, where we listen to families, where we make adjustments based on data that includes the perspectives and opinions of the people we're serving. And so I think that you're not a guinea pig if you are a co-creator and an agent in your education. Like, I'm not a guinea pig. I joined Teach for America when it was the second year. I wasn't a guinea pig. I started teaching at Carnegie, and it was like, I've been a part of a lot of first year or first things. I don't know. I sort of like entrepreneurial.
Wait, I know. I'm gonna freeze you on that because, like, I don't know if you saw me. I was like, yes, thank you. But I think part of the issue is, and again, if you don't want to touch this, you don't have to, but I'm gonna put my finger on it. Because they don't know who Kim is, and because this is an option school and it's all connected to this war, charter, public, like you throw it all in the trash. Schools are schools to me. Schools are schools. But it's because they don't know where the money is, and they can't control this or whatever those things are. Can you kind of touch that, like, or does Kim run the leadership school, or does her funder run the leadership school? Does Kim make the decisions, or does her funder make the decisions? Who running the leadership school? I just want to know.
So the leadership school does not yet have our final authorization. So we do not yet have students enrolled. We have not yet brought on a full team. But what I would say right now is that the leadership school is being run in collaboration with the founder and executive director, myself, our founding board, our parents and community members and educators who are on our design team, and the coaches who give us support through different fellowships and learning opportunities. And so what I mean by that is we have put together a mission, vision, sort of the foundational documents and foundational culture of the school in connection with getting input from parents, students, community members, educators. Now that those things are in place, Kimberly Townsend, the founding board, the design team that meets monthly, that people are welcome to join. We meet on the second Thursday of every month. Like, email me, I will get you the login information. If you are about this mission of a school where kids have voice and choice, and we're really trying to do something radically different, then come and join us. We invite you, right? We have some local funders. We have a local funder who's been a huge supporter of our work. Obviously, we have a couple national funders who have been amazing support of our work. And what they do is connect us to learning opportunities. What they do is make sure that we can see, here's this school. And in some cases, public school, traditional school district, charter schools, and private schools, right? All kinds of schools, all kinds of learning organizations that's serving kids and families. And so I'm grateful to that support. There's no way we could be doing this work without those funders, but they don't dictate what we do. I think that there are beliefs. For example, one of our national funders does a lot of research and a lot of work around an expanded definition of student success. So our funder, that particular funder, you know, if they continue to fund us as we launch, they expect us to be able to tell them not just how are our kids doing academically, but also social and emotionally. So they expect us to figure out what are those things that our community cares about and how are we going to measure progress. They don't tell us what to care about. They just say, you got to care about more than just a grade. Are kids resilient? Are they, you know, entrepreneurial? Are they creative? Are they problem solvers? Are they community builders? Are they relationship? Whatever the things are that the leadership schools community has decided is important, we do have funders who want to see, well, how are you doing on those things? How are you living those things out? How are your kids demonstrating those things? So I would say, yes, our funders connect us to resources and opportunities and learning opportunities and systems and structures that help us do the thing that we're trying to do better. They do not run the school. They're not on the board. They're not, I mean, ultimately our board is responsible for the governance of our school. And will employ me to be responsible for the day-to-day operations of the school, right?
I knew that. I just wanted to pull up and ask you that way so you can let them know, like, the funder ain't like telling you, if you don't do this, this gonna happen. I just wanted to make sure that was out there like that. I really only have 2 more questions because I know you have to go and I do too. Does Kimberly Townsend and the Leadership School, are you here with the mission to shut down the Normandy Collaborative, or are you trying to partner with them? Like, do you have an end goal to like eliminate the Normandy School District, or are you just really just trying to pull up and partner? I think I know the answer, but won't you slide through the middle and tell me?
Yeah, so of course not. we do not want to, you know, eliminate any options in any school districts. Like that's not what we're about. I think that parents want something not only you know, different. I would say that, right? And so I think I did watch Miss Randall's video, and I think that she said something profound to me about having 2 children and one school system being right for one child, and how the leadership school would be a better fit for her other child. And I think that what is true, because I have a strong-willed leader who has already identified her gifts and talents in this world and is constantly seeking. She is seeking her own opportunities to perfect her artistic craft, to take classes, to get more materials, to practice, to watch videos. Like, this is my 6-year-old who already recognizes where her strengths are and needs to be in a place that is nurturing that. And I think that, you know, so I guess what I would say is, we just need more options. We are, there is a lack, and I think, I hope people would agree with me, right? That there is a lack of high quality schools. There's not enough right now. And so what I hope is that we could be in partnership. You know, I happen to know that, or I just kind of looking through some material, realized that, you know, the Normandy Schools Collaborative is using the same curriculum that we are planning to use, right? So I guess they're piloting the math curriculum this year, and they have made a shift to the English language arts curriculum. And so I think there's so many opportunities for teacher development. There are opportunities for trying new things out. What I love about a charter school environment is the ability to be more nimble, to just be one building where you can make decisions at the children level, right? Like right there in the space where those decisions need to be made closest to the children affected. And so I think what I'm hoping is that, you know, we would learn some things, and that, you know, we could, you know, partner in some different ways. I am definitely open to that. I've always been open to that, and look forward to having more conversations to that. And after our last public hearing, had you know, some individuals reach out to me to talk more about different things. And so, you know, just no, I think there is a way in which the leadership school exists in the community, as a part of the choices that we put before kids and families. And I think we've seen that in other cities and other parts of the country where it doesn't have to be looked at as an either or, but a both and.
I love that you said that. Excuse your boy in the background screaming, he's excited. The biggest part that I liked is that you said where the families, like we can change things on a ground level that affect the children. I love the fact that having an option school, I can pull up and say, hey, can we incorporate social skills and life skills in class for Paul? And he started that today, although the school will not open. They will not open because they're not playing with this pandemic. Yeah. They're letting him come in specifically on a block time for a need that he has. Traditional public schools can't do that. But when you have an option type of school, like the leadership school, you can twist, I like to say, into a pretzel to fit the need of the family. And that is so freaking dope. I love how you said, yes, I want to partner with these other entities, but you came back like you always do. Your first partnership is always to your kids and your families. So I love how you said that first.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that big systems can be difficult to move. Change management is hard. I know that, you know, just in some different work and environments where I've been in, particularly when you're talking about, you know, a culture that's been established, you know, and I'm thinking specifically around, you know, really doing deep work on identity and racial development, right? Like changing systems are hard. And people, you got to move a lot of people and you got to move a lot of things. And some folks want that change to happen carefully and slowly and methodically. Some people want you to flip it over on a dime and make it change. And right, that's you. Sometimes that's me, right? And so we recognize that, you know, we wrestle with those things. And so again, to start a school with 125 students, with a small staff, with a group of committed parents and community members, you know, I think it gives us an ability to really like see what's working, make quick fixes, like, you know, and even, I mean, my former students will tell you, you know, I love a restart, but I also don't feel like we have to wait to the new school year, to the new semester. If I see something's not working and we have a new plan, I'm showing up on Monday and we're ready to go. We're going to try this new thing because we've got goals to accomplish and things we need to do. Like our kids just can't wait. You know, especially for us to just get mired in, you know, everybody who has to be on board for change to happen in big systems.
Wow. So. I'm just, I'm really done. Like, I only have this last question, but.
You had one question for like 5 questions.
That statement right there, I know that that's a fact, because if you go back and you look at the recording of Norquise, Miss Cooper, she talked about a time when she saw something, like she's the head of transportation in East St. Louis. She saw something and she said she pulled up to you, told you what she saw, and then you immediately shifted and changed it. So I know that that's fact that you're saying, because I wasn't there that day. And this girl had to recall something that happened
I don't even know
years ago.
Talking about, to be honest.
But you did that. So I know when you want to change something, I know Kimberly has the ability to do it right there, because whatever she saw from a transportation standpoint, She felt it was an issue big enough to bring to you that affects the safety of children, and you implemented the change immediately. You don't have to remember it. Parents remember everything. I just want you to know that. That's why I'm in the gap doing this. So here is the last question, like for real. What's next? I know that December 4th is coming up. Like, we got to go to Jefferson City. We know that we have this Google form out there. Like, tell the people what's going on next and what you need from them.
Yeah. So we will be, seeking our final authorization from the state of Missouri at the Missouri State Board. And, when I have that date, I can share it with folks. People are interested. So that will happen ideally by January. Actually has to happen by January. So that I think is a big next step. Really just securing the final authorization so that we can begin to open our doors. Folks can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. It's the Leadership School STL at all of those locations. We're launching a new website. You can go to the leadershipschoolstl.org right now. There is information there, but we are working on adding some additional information, so that should be launching within the next week or so. But I think right now we're really focused on just continuing to work through our design team. Again, our next meeting is Thursday, November 12th. Yes, the 12th. So we are continuing to, look at different aspects of the school design and going from concept to implementation. And so we invite people, they're interested in joining a design team, they can message me on social media or email me at info@tlsstl.org. And then finally, parents who will have children entering kindergarten, first and second grade, we just invite you to, if you are within the boundaries of the 24-1, we invite you to express your interest in the leadership school through our interest form. Again, you can find that through our social media or reach out to us, and and that will allow you to get, quick information and to get access to our application once we are authorized and can begin enrolling students. But I think that's been exciting, just to continue to hear from more parents that they're very interested in the option to apply for the leadership school. And so, so we've been doing meetings. I've been talking to parents one-on-one and just, continuing to follow up with folks, still reaching out to community partners. And so, it's a little tricky, right? Like, I know that we're now seeing another uptick of COVID cases, not only in our region, but around the country. And even as some kids are back in school, and some schools and daycares are reclosing and things like that, I am still available to folks via phone, via Zoom. It is hard to be out and engage with people, but we're doing the best we can,
yes, we are.
Technology that we have. And so, yeah, just invite people to reach out, email us, call us, message us on social media, share with a friend.
Okay, Paul is excited. So we getting ready to end this with this. Like, she didn't tell y'all, but I'm like pulling all hinges and asking her to do a turn up type of party, leadership style party, y'all, where we get all of these dope women and organizations together, and we gonna get together and kick it, go.
Yeah, so Carmen, you're funny. So what I will say is people should go to our social media, our Instagram, our Facebook, Twitter, etc., because we will have some announcements coming out in the next week for some events before 2020 is out, right? So someone referred to it as the finale. They're getting ready for the finale of 2020. And so the Leadership School has some exciting things coming up, including some parent webinars that will give parent learning opportunities. It includes a fall festival. So we'll have that information out within the next week. We're also recruiting for our founding director of operations. That job posting is already out there. And again, we'll start engaging with teacher candidates very soon here as well. Anyone who's interested in learning more, to talking and just being in relationship, I encourage you to reach out to us. It is hard to be out in the world and in your little box doing the work, but I'm doing better. navigating, you know, because both things are true, that there's work that needs to get done to have things intentionally organized and put in a way that our kids will be successful on day one. And there is the work of relationship building that, quite frankly, is difficult. It's difficult to even stay connected to people that you're already in relationship with during a pandemic. And so building new relationships become even that much harder, but we are here, we are open. And I love talking to people about education, about the needs of our kids, and about what's possible when we believe in our young people and when we create space for them to just be as dope as they are. So I do have to go. So I appreciate you, Carmen, for having this space and opportunity to chat with you today.
You're so welcome, world. All I can say is let's close this out with education. The face of education can change. This woman here is what you see, what you feel, and what I'm telling you. If you want to see something different, feel something different, and know that you can understand what it's like to navigate through education with your child, please pull up to the Leadership School. More to come in the gap with Kimberly Townsend and more parents. Bye, Kim.
Thanks, Carmen. Bye.